What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again, once again. So now
that was quite the intro there.
I've had extensive time to play the beta on both systems, so I'm going to go ahead and give you my first impressions. And if I had to sum it up in a few words, in almost all areas, Destiny 2 is, in no uncertain terms, boring.
It's kind of subjective. It looks kind of fun. I like the gunplay in Destiny 1 was a lot of fun. I like just running around and shooting shit. I had quite a fun doing that. It looks like it's just about the same in here, so I think it would be fun, but fun doesn't mean good. Fun, yeah, I'll give you that. Fun doesn't mean good.
Dull.
Oh yeah, dull. That's boring, but boring 2.0.
Uninspired.
Okay, now you're just adding more words to make your point sound a little bit better.
And you know what? I could deal with that. All of that would be just fine. It would be okay. Like I said, I could deal with it if it wasn't for the fact that the game is so fucking slow. All right.
Let's see why this game is slow.
Painfully so. Destiny 2 is so fucking slow that I swear to God, I swear on all things holy, the old gods, the new gods, Valar fucking Margulis, in brightest day, in blackest night, you could tell me that Destiny 2 was an experiment. An experiment to see if the sensation of just getting off work and being asked to go pick something up at the store on your way home and deciding to go...
Are you trying to be funny and like, oh, the game's so slow, so let me take as long as I fucking humanly possibly can to get to the goddamn point?
Time to kills are absurdly slow.
How can you say that time to kill is absurdly slow when you're showing footage of about 2 second to 6 second kill times? And the 6 second kill times are you being fucking horrible and not being able to shoot the person.
But not only that, if you are in a game and the game is close, you just might, if you are lucky, in the last 40 fucking seconds of the game, get one super.
I'm looking forward to not getting fucking Fist of Panicked every 2 minutes.
And the recharge on health...
6 fucking seconds. 6 goddamn motherfucking seconds. And judging by how Destiny 1 worked, you have an armor, an agility, and a recovery bar that you can change with the different skills in your skill tree. Willing to bet it probably works the same in Destiny 2, and it looks like you're a Titan. So I think you have all your skills in armor and none in recovery, so a Warlock with full recovery can probably get his shield up in 3 seconds. If not, 6 seconds is still a good recovery time.
And abilities?
Yeah, I think the abilities are. Yeah, they are a little bit slow. I might think they're just fine the way they are if I actually play the game, but just by looking at it, they do look a little bit slow.
Takes no less than 3 fucking years to recharge. Everything, every aspect about this game is just so painfully fucking slow. And you might be fooled into thinking to yourself, well, in PvP, this might be a good thing. Stops ability spam, makes gunplay more relied upon. And these arguments might be valid. I might consider them if PvP and PvE had separate balancing, but they don't.
I've been saying this since year 1. I'm glad you agree with me.
So that's just my blanketed overview, but some of you likely want details, so...
Remember when he says details, remember that. Because by the end of the video, he doesn't give a shit about details at all.
Let's go into it. First off, I like change. I like innovation. But when you change too much, when you go overboard trying to reinvent the fucking wheel, it stops being innovation and becomes a shell of its former self.
I don't think... I mean, really, what did they do? They added a new ability and then kind of tweaked some other things to make that ability kind of work in Destiny. And then they reduced the team size in PvP down to 4. I'm not sure if that's for everything. I think that's for everything. Is that really that much change? I don't really think that's much change.
With that said, the first story mission.
I'm going to skip most of the storyline because I agree with him on a lot of the points. There are a lot of plot holes.
The first story mission is exactly what you would expect if you've been paying attention to how Bungie deals with criticism. They tend to overcompensate, and yet somehow, some fucking how, miss the entire point. Yes, it's long. It's even interesting. I won't deny that. A solid 7 out of 10. Then we go down this hallway with the civilians, and you can just tell that somebody was really trying to create something dramatic, with some dramatic tension, with some loss. And then you see this fucker. Lord Shaxx, with a raised lighter on his back. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got the crystal for that thing from Oryx's sword. Now, I know that there are other crystals, or at least one other crystal exists, so maybe these crystals are the base for all Hive swords. But that's not what you're thinking when you walk down this hallway and see this fucker with your sword on his back.
When I saw Shaxx for the first time, when I saw this guy for the first time, and the first time seeing him was your video, I didn't think that's my sword. I thought, oh hey, look, another guy with the same sword everyone else in Destiny has. Didn't really think much of it. I mean, yeah, sure, we lost our weapons, but I mean, do I really fucking care? Every game with an expansion in progression, you lose your items every time. Sure, it's kind of a bummer that you don't get like Vault 1.0 that you can see all your items in. Ooh, look, shiny. But, I mean, do I really care? No.
We make our way through the rest of the level and board the Cabal capital ship, who is only guarded by one loading screen. No, really. Somehow, someway, Bungie expects you to buy this. Gull is the strategic leader of the Cabal. He is this massively powerful warlord who has exiled the Emperor of the fucking Cabal. And he has come to Earth to take the light, and he has figured out a way to block the light from us. He has destroyed the city and in one fell swoop taken everything from us. But the guy is too fucking stupid to guard the one and only vulnerability on his fucking capital ship so that some jerk-off in a pelican can fly right on in. And don't give me this bullshit. Oh, but Joker, it was a trap. I know somebody is frantically, furiously typing that in the comments below. There is so much that could have gone wrong for Gull if this was a trap that I don't even have time to list it.
So, around here, he's praising how much of a strategic genius Gull is. Alright, cool. What, he's done all these things and he's too much of a genius to think to go for a trap, because that's way too risky. If he's so much of a strategic genius, a few minutes ago, why weren't you thinking, oh, okay, maybe Gull could have found a way past everyone because he's a strategic genius and did a sneak attack on the tower? You're really gonna tell me he's this much of a fucking strategic genius and then tell me, oh yeah, he can't find a way past a few planets and a broken down ship?
Just throwing this out there, how are we not fucking dead when this happens? We are an army of the chosen undead brought back to life by the Traveler's Light.
You're probably not dead because this is not every other game and the ghost is a necromancer. The ghost probably brought you back to life and you're officially back to life, but the ghost power is what brought you back to life. If you get what I'm saying. It's like turning on a robot and then you dying and expecting the robot to die with you. Don't think it's going to work that way. Or like having a kid and expecting when you die your kid to die. Like that, I don't think that's how the ghost works.
And you know what the worst part in all of this is? You know what the part that really gets in my craw and twists my fucking nuts? It's not the fact that we lose our gear. It's not the fact that our character's rebooted.
You're the guy talking about 2 seconds being way too slow of a kill time, and here you are wasting fucking 50 seconds of the video saying, oh, you know what the worst part of this is? Yeah, that bitch for the microtransactions is still alive.
Now on to player versus player. My opening monologue pretty much sums up my thoughts on player versus player, mostly. But there are a few things that I didn't touch on. So let's start with melee combat. Just melee combat in general, no individual classes. Melee combat in Destiny 2 in player versus player is 3 punches to kill. Whomever thought that this would be a good, solid, fucking balanced and satisfying gameplay mechanic would not know what a good, balanced, satisfying gameplay mechanic was if it fucking dick whipped them in the goddamn eye and proceeded to skull fuck them.
Punches should literally be, oh, my mag ran out and you're one hit. Let me just take a step towards you and punch you. And that's all melee should be. There shouldn't be this fucking Call of Duty shit. Oh, I got a pistol and I got super speed, so let me just go run around one-shotting everyone in the game, because that's what it's about. No, it's about fucking shooting people.
As far as classes are concerned, I would need to play with them more to kind of get a gauge of where all of them are at. But it seems like my initial instincts are holding true, at least as far as the top of the meta goes. Dawnblade players are either hyper lethal or they're bad. There's no real in-between, and the same thing can be said for Sentinels.
So, like I said earlier, remember when he said he liked detail? This is when that starts to like stop being a thing. He doesn't like detail. He likes making an argument that is vague. It sounds like he's proving his point, but it's not really. But he wants to just... I don't want to really say hate on Destiny 2, because obviously if he spent the time to... I'm not even sure if this is scripted. It says rant in the title, so it's probably not. But if he spent the time to sit there for 25 minutes and rant about Destiny 2, he's probably not a hater. But he's probably a fan that was disappointed in Destiny 1 like I was, but for some reason just wants to find reasons to hate Destiny 2, and makes his arguments vague, detailless, and retarded. Like, 2 seconds is way too short, or way too long of a kill time. 6 seconds is unacceptable for my health recharge, and you'll see later on, completely fucking brain dead.
Overall, however, the gameplay does nothing exciting.
Details, please? I thought you liked details.
If you had fears that Destiny would become this overbalanced...
I don't really think a game can be overbalanced.
...over-competitive...
I think games can be over-competitive, but I think that's more of the community than the game itself.
MLG wannabe mess of an experience? Your fears have come true. Countdown is a waste of a game type?
Can I get a little bit more detail on that? I'm not sure what you mean.
1, you can't really call something competitive if it doesn't reflect the actual nature of your game.
Once again, you can't just make claims like it doesn't follow the nature of the game without backing up with a little bit of detail, Mr. I like my fucking detail.
Outside of that, the game type is just boring. Add all the slowness that is Destiny 2 into a game type where you can spend the better part of 5 minutes staring at nothing, waiting to be revived. On top of that, nobody actually plays the objective that they've placed in the game.
Now, remember here when he says nobody plays the objective because there's no point. Just remember this.
There's really no point to it. If I kill everyone, I win. That's boring, dull, and serves no purpose. It's a Take-Two at trying to hit gold with Trials of Osiris that adds an objective in an attempt to give weaker teams an option to win. But it doesn't understand that the better team will just slay the weaker team, and that option doesn't really matter because nobody plays the objective. Not in any of the games I've been in. It just kind of turns into elimination with less revives. And that brings us to the strike. Don't let the length of the strike fool you, it is completely and utterly artificial. Not only is your DPS cut in half...
You can't really... How the fuck can you say that? You can't say your DPS has been cut in half. There's no comparison between the two games. I mean, sure you can say percentage-wise, but, I mean... Are you even max level in the beta? I don't think you're max level at the beta, so you don't really have a good comparison of that.
Because your abilities are nerfed for nothing, and your weapons have been reallocated to give you nothing to fight with. But these maps are just artificially inflated, with nothing really going on.
This point is artificially inflated, and there's nothing going on.
And it's just one of those strikes where you just look at it and you think, you know what? Yeah, I would just rather not play the Nightfall version of this. More so because the boss fight is a multi-stage bullet sponge with a potential instant death mechanic.
You don't want to fight a strike boss because it has multiple stages, interesting mechanics, and only takes 5 minutes to kill. I don't want to fight a strike boss in Destiny 1 because you do nothing but sit undercover, shoot some ads, and occasionally shoot a big thing until it dies for about 5 minutes. You are complaining about them improving strike bosses. Do you realize how fucking brain dead you are? They are improving something and you're saying, stop improving it. Go back to the way it was. I like sitting there shooting a bullet sponge that does nothing but hide under cover, spawns a couple of ads, got to hide under cover, then he spawns a couple of ads, and got to hide under cover, he spawns a couple of ads. That was boring. I don't want to do that again. I want strike bosses that have multiple phases and mechanics that you have to actually fucking follow, and you can't just like hide under cover for them. Like this guy, he like puts the floor on fire or something. You gotta jump to avoid it. If it's more productive to hide in a bubble shield and not learn to fucking press A or X or spacebar or whatever it is for you to jump, if it's more productive for you to pop down a bubble shield and hide and not die and wait for that to go past, then no one's gonna do it. It's like your point about playing the objective in PvP. No one plays the objective, no one does the mechanic, it's boring, it's dull, no one likes it. You need one-shot mechanics to punish people who are too bad to learn the fucking mechanics. Learn how to jump, learn how to run away from the thing, learn how to go under cover, or whatever the fuck the mechanic is. Stop complaining about Bungie improving the game.
And you just don't have the same DPS capabilities in Destiny 2 that you had in Destiny 1.
Oh, imagine that. Without your Galahorn, you don't have the same DPS as you did in Destiny 1.
And although it looks and plays and feels like they've taken a new approach in regards to the way the player engages the world, they have not changed much in the way the world engages the player. Nessus is pretty cool, and if you decide not to do the strike, there are some interesting things you can find. But if you told me that before Destiny 2 was rebooted that Nessus was in fact the Black Garden, I would believe you. It actually matches more closely to the description of the Black Garden that Pajari gives us in the Grimoire card Legends Black Garden than the actual Black Garden. In fact, you could probably tell me that Io started development as Venus, and I would believe you, because it looks like Venus.
A game that looks like its predecessor. I'm not even going to say similar. It looks exactly like its predecessor. Has maps that look similar to its predecessor. Imagine that. Fucking imagine that.
Not that this is a point of contention, I'm just saying that these spaces seem to have been in development for possibly 3 years, so let's hope they're better fleshed out. Anyways, the strike is beautiful looking, there's a lot of really cool scenery, it's well designed-ish, the play spaces that are actually play spaces have nice things in them, but there are long swaths of padding that are going on from point A to point B.
Okay, this is where I really need you to give me some detail. There's long padding between point A and point B. Are you talking about the ads? Or are you talking about there's like 15 different parkour maps you gotta go through to get from one pack of ads to the other? Because that I'd care about. But if you're talking about from going to the fucking entrance of the strike to the boss, and there's a couple ads in between, I don't give a fuck. That's what a strike is. You need to give some little bit more detail, Mr. I like my fucking detail.
The boss fight is exactly what you expect in Destiny 2. Dull, boring, unoriginal.
Dull, boring, unoriginal. Here we go. Again with the fucking keywords. Boring, subjective. Dull, boring 2.0. Original, just want to add a third word in there for the fucking wombo combo.
The second you get the gimmick is the second the boss battle becomes even more boring.
Yeah, you're probably the kind of guy who doesn't enjoy the gameplay. You're probably the kind of guy who plays Call of Duty just to get the kill. You don't care about how the gun feels. You don't care about how the gun sounds. You don't care about how the gun moves in your hand or how heavy your feet feel when you're carrying a giant-ass LMG compared to just a pistol and a knife. All you care about is getting that plus however many points for killing that guy and going on to the next guy, and then plus however many points for killing that guy. Do you even find doing the strikes fun? Do you find running around killing people in Destiny 1 fun? Because I did. I know a lot of people did. I feel like just from you sitting here saying this boss fight is dull, boring, and unoriginal, and after you get the mechanic, it becomes gimmicky and boring. I feel like you're playing the wrong kind of game. Please do us all a favor. Go back to Call of Duty. I don't think you fit here. I really don't think you fit here. Because you're complaining about them fixing the boss mechanics, aka adding boss mechanics. And once you know the boss mechanics, it becoming boring. I honestly think, and this is not me just being mad at you. I honestly think Destiny's not the game for you. It really isn't.
It's just a bullet sponge in a game that has taken away the player's ability to effectively burn down bullet sponges.
5 minutes. It took him 5 minutes to kill the boss. 5 minutes to kill the boss. I think that's completely reasonable. I don't think, sure, you can call it a bullet sponge if you want. I don't think that's too much of a bullet sponge. 5 minutes. 5 minute boss for having fair footing, being the appropriate level to actually fight him, and not being over-geared. The whole reason you were able to burn bosses in Destiny 1 so much better than you are right now in Destiny 2 is because in Destiny 1, you're over-geared. You have max level raid gear. You have all the exotics that you need to actually be able to burn down bosses. You have the best guns. You have the best strats. And that will come with time in Destiny 2. And yes, that is important for a game. You can't always have the boss take the exact same amount of time. At that point, what's the point of progression? You need to feel like you're getting more powerful. And in Destiny 2, if you're already on the same footing than you are in Destiny 1, what's the point of making Destiny 2? Just make Destiny... God fucking damn, are you kidding? I swear to God. What is this? This better be fucking important. God damn it, Bocage. What the... I'm going... You kidding me? Now, what the fuck was my point there? What was I saying? I forgot. That's like the third time I've had to make this point about take the boss taking 5 minutes. And fucking Bocage is like, hey, guess what? Make it again, faggot! I think my last point there was me trying to explain why you need to reset the progression. Let me put it like this. If in Destiny 1, your time to kill on a strike boss would have been when you first started about 5 minutes. I think. I didn't time it. But it felt like it was about 5 minutes per strike boss. And then you killed Atheon. And then you killed him again. And then, oh look, week 2, I got a Galahorn. And then, oh look, I got the Vex Mytho class. And now, I'm killing the average normal strike boss in about 2 minutes, because me and my friends have the best weapons. Right? If when the Dark Below comes out, did they even add any strikes in Dark Below? I don't remember. Let's say they add a strike boss in the Dark Below, right? The next expansion. If you go and you try to kill that strike boss in the Dark Below, and it takes you 2 minutes, by the time the Taken King comes out, you're going to be killing bosses in about 30 seconds. Maybe not even that. You'd be like one-shotting bosses. So you need every time a new expansion or game comes out, you need to reset that time to kill on bosses back to 5 minutes, or however long you want it to be. Or else, if you keep adding stacks of power, at some point you'll get so powerful you'll be one-shotting fucking Doomlord Kazak. Cough cough wreck bomb. It's the exact same fucking thing, but except made by the developer purposely because they're retarded. And no developer that knows the slightest thing about game design will ever do that. Never. And you, sir, are retarded for expecting that to happen. You, sir, don't even have 2 brain cells to rub together to realize, oh, if they kept the same progression feel as in Destiny 1, by the time Destiny 2 comes out, it'll be 2 minutes, and by the time Destiny 2 is done... Wait, how powerful would we be at the end of Destiny 2? Oh yeah, we'd be fucking one-shotting bosses! Overall, I think Destiny 2 just isn't the game for you. You don't like the time to kill. You don't like the game mechanics. You don't like fighting bosses. You don't like the gameplay by itself. You need to go back to Call of Duty.